how to find duplicate records from a table in SQL Server. Hi, I am M. Asif Hussain from Know-How Academy. In this video, I am going to guide you on how we have to fetch the duplicate records from a table in SQL Server. So before directly telling you how to find out the duplicate records, let me tell you the real-time examples where we can get the duplicate records in our day-to-day life. So most of the people, if we talk about the cities, we all go to supermarkets in order to buy a lot of products, in order to buy vegetables, in order to buy milk, in order to purchase yogurts and so on, and fruits and all. So whenever we go to a supermarket, many of the times we might have observed that the product will be scanned more than one time. All right, if we check the bill, what will happen is that the product which the supermarket staff are scanning when they are billing the products, then there might be the chances that it might get scanned double times, two times. So it means that the duplicate record of the same product has been entered. Am I right? So in the same way, when we are creating some account in any of the platforms, such as if you take Google or Facebook or Gmail or any sort of e-commerce platform and so on, there might be the chances that we might have created the password, we might have created an account in that for many years and many days, we might have not used it, and we felt that okay, so that might have gone and it is no more there. The previous account which I have created, it is not there. Now I have to create another account. So when you try to create another account in the database, in the backend part, we might get that the same name, the same phone number is registered another time, right? So there is a duplicate record of it. So in the same way, there are many such situations in real time where you will face that you will have the duplicate records, one or the other, in a data set that you receive or that you will be working on a project. So now the point is that by having this duplicate records, can we do the data analysis? By having this kind of duplicate records, is it possible that we can create a report? Is it possible that we can show the right information to the customer? No, it is not at all possible. So what should we do? We have to find the duplicate records, and if possible, we have to delete it. Okay, so in this video, I'll guide you how to find the duplicate records in the table that we have in SQL Server. So for that, what we have to do, first we need to have a table. So let me create a table here. Then in a step-by-step procedure, I'll explain it to you everything in detail. So let me create a table. So create table. Let me create a table with the name Know-How Employees. Okay, so Know-How Employees. Then I'll open the parenthesis. Let me choose the first column, which is employee ID. ID, I'm taking it as an integer data type. Then I'm choosing it as employee first name. I'm creating a first name column as it is a character, and we might have some special characters also involved in it. That's where I'm choosing variable character data type with the size 200. Okay, varchar. So check out the spelling, CHAR. Alright, so let me choose another column. I have taken employee first name, so I obviously choose my employee last name as well. So it's varchar. Again, the size I'm choosing it as 200, comma. Now what I'm doing, let me choose the employee gender as well. Let me choose a gender column. So here also I'm giving the varchar data type with 200 as my character size, comma. Then I'm choosing the last column of my table, which is employee salary. So which is a very important part. So I'm choosing employee salary. No one are going to work for free in any organization. Everyone expects a salary for the work we do. So we need to know what is an employee salary. So let me close the parenthesis. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a table with a table name Know-How Employee, and I'm creating the table with few of columns such as employee ID, first name, last name, gender and salary. So let me first create this table. So let me first create this table. Commands completed successfully. I have successfully created a table. Now what we have to do, we have to insert the values in this particular table Know-How Employee. So for this, I have already kept the values ready so that in order to save some time. So for this, what I'll do, let me show it to you. I have created some values. What I'm doing, I'm inserting the value into my table know-how employee. Okay, so what is my table name? My table name is know-how underscore employee. Okay, so my table name is know-how underscore employee. So this is my table name. So let me write my table name very clearly so that we should not have any sort of errors when we are creating or inserting the values into this particular table. So once I choose the right table name, then all the red marks will go away. The red marks are showing that there is some mistake in the table name that we have, or it is not existing, it is invalid. Okay, so now if you can see that there is no red mark, so all my table names are correct. What I am inserting? I am inserting values. Inserting into which table? Into my know-how employee table. So as in the format of this employee ID, first name, last name, in the same format I have inserted my values as well. Okay, first name, so this is employee ID, this is employee first name, employee last name, employee gender, and employee salary. Okay, so let me execute it. As soon as I execute it, all the rows are successfully entered and the query is executed successfully. So let me retrieve the know-how employee table to you and show it to you. For this, what I am doing, select a star from my table name. My table name is know-how underscore employee. So what I am doing, I am executing it. We can see that employee ID, employee first name, employee last name, employee gender, and employee salary, all the columns are here with the values. If you observe very carefully, every employee will have the unique employee ID. No two employees will have the same ID. This is a minimum thing that everyone should know. So my employee ID, my colleague employee ID will not be the same. Your employee ID, your colleague employee ID will not be the same. As how your fingerprint and my fingerprint cannot be the same, your eye scan and my eye scan will not be the same. In the same way, in any organization we are working, the two employees will not have the same email ID. Though they are the blood relations, though they are husband and wife, though they are father and children, it might be the relationship to you in your house home, but not in the office, right? In the organization, every employee ID is different. But if you see here, employee ID 1 is repeated 2 times, employee ID 2 is repeated 2 times, employee ID 3 is repeated 3 times, right? So there are the duplicate employee IDs that we have. So now if you see here, if the employee ID is same, you might have a doubt that the same employee names will be there, right? But no, employee ID 1 is Raj Darji, and again employee ID 1 is Karnav, right? So two different names, but employee ID is same. In the same way, employee ID 2 we have, the first name is Rinsi Patel and the next employee name we have is Krupali Bhusa, but the employee IDs are same. In the same way, if you see the third employee ID, though Ajay Charya, Asif Hussain, Gaurav Gupta. So three names are different, but we have the same employee ID. So there are the duplicate records in our table. Now what we have to do, we have to find how many employee IDs are repeated. Okay, we should find out how many employee IDs are repeated. So in order to find out the duplicate values that we have, in order to find out the duplicate records that we have in a table, so what we have to do, we need to write a select clause. Very simple. Okay, my dear viewers, please understand, if you are attending any sort of SQL interview, if you are a fresher, if you are an experienced person, this question will be there in any interview you go for sure. How to find the duplicate records in a table, how to delete the duplicate records in a table, these two are the mandatory questions that every interviewer is asking nowadays. Okay, so many of them are getting confused as well. So let me make you understand the query of it in a very easy way. In this video, I will show you how to find the duplicate records in a table. In the next video, I will guide you how to delete the duplicate records in a table. So for this, what I am doing it now, I am writing a select clause. So select, I want to see which employee IDs are repeated how many times. Okay, for that I will choose employee ID column, as I have to see that how many times I have got the repeated. For example, if you see here that employee ID 1 is repeated 2 times, employee ID 2 is repeated 2 times, employee ID 3 is repeated 3 times. So that I have like to see. So now what is there? How many times the ID is getting repeated? That's where I'm counting it, right? So that's where you have to write count of, you choose star, it's up to you. Okay, you either you would try to write employee ID count also, that is your choice. So let me choose star here. Star is everything. So in this I would like to see in the output the column header name for this count, the value. So that's where I'm writing the column header as total count. From which table I am choosing it? I am choosing this employee ID and all from which table? From my know-how employee table. That I will write it here from table name. This is very important. You have to group all the ones into one, all repeated twos into one, all repeated threes into one. So you are grouping 1 1 into 1, 2 2 into 1, 3 3 3 into 1. Okay, so that's where you will count it, right? So that's where what I'm doing, I'm grouping what? I'm grouping my employee IDs which are repeated, right? So I'm grouping my employee ID. Always we have to remember that whenever we use group by, we have to use having here. Okay, that is a clause. So group by clause, having clause, I have already explained in my previous videos. If you haven't watched it out, please go and review the clauses video. That will give you a very clear idea about the clauses. So group by the employee ID. Now as I have used this group by clause, I have to use having here as a filter. So having what? Having count of these repeated, whichever are repeated. If it is greater than 1, if it is repeated more than once, then you have to show it to me. That's what I'm telling it to SQL, that if it is repeated more than once, then you show it to me. So if I execute this one, we can see that the employee ID 1 is repeated 2 times, employee ID 2 is repeated 2 times, employee ID 3 is repeated 3 times, right? So that's what I have even shown it to you when I have fetched the entire table. Employee ID 1 is repeated 2 times with name Raj and Karnav. Employee 2 is repeated 2 times with the name Rinsi and Krupali Bhusa. The employee ID 3 is repeated 3 times with 3 different names, Ajay, Asif and Gaurav. So what it has done, this group by employee ID has clubbed these 2 into 1, these 2 into 1, these 3 into 1. It has grouped it and it gave us the count that one employee ID 1 is repeated 2 times, employee ID 2 is repeated 2 times, employee ID 3 is repeated 3 times. Alright, so that's where we have got this as an output. The total count column header which you are seeing here is this particular total count that I have written. I would like to get the column name, that's why I have written as total count. If you don't want it, you can remove it. There will not be any column name here. Let me show it to you. No column name, so it will not add any value if you show some result to the client or a customer with no column name. That's where I have written here as total count and I have executed it. So that's where you can find out the duplicate records from a table in SQL Server. So whenever this question is being asked in interview, it's very simple. You need to have the count, okay, then you have to do that aggregation part, that is count, and you need to assign the group by value and the having which is greater than 1. So that's where you will get the duplicate records from a table in SQL Server. So how to delete these duplicate records, that we will see it in our next video. Then thank you so much for choosing Know-How Academy as your source for IT knowledge. We are always here to help you to navigate the tech world. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you. Stay curious and keep learning.